Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. We have a lot to cover today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with an update on shelter resources and other resources for Pajaro residents. We are joined by Kelsey Scanlon, who's the director of our Department of Emergency Management, and she is going to give us an update. Hi, Kelsey.
Hello. So the non-congregate shelter program is up and running. We have I believe received all of the eligible applicants and are currently sheltering 215 approximately individuals in our non-congregate shelter program. As of today, the county has announced that the Santa Cruz Fairgrounds shelter will close on May 15th. The county has been operating the shelter since March 11th to serve evacuees from the community of Pajaro and other areas that may have been impacted by flooding from the Pineapple Express winter storm that came through in early March. Throughout the duration of the shelter's operation, it has served hundreds of evacuees and provided many of the much needed wraparound services to support people in either going back to their homes or finding a new home. Additionally, we've had many homeless service providers accessing the shelter to connect people with other temporary housing solutions. Approximately 113 from the shelter have accessed those temporary housing options. And as of today, a little less than 50 occupants are at the shelter. We are still actively working to connect them with temporary housing options and to support them in transitioning to their next living situation. I do want to take a moment to thank many of the nonprofit organizations that have been supporting the shelter guests, the Coalition of Homeless Services, Dorothy's Kitchen, the Housing Authority of Monterey County, CHE, Interim Inc., and Santa Cruz County Social Services.
And I want to let people know who are listening, we're going to have a follow-up email that will go out to all of our media partners that will reiterate the things that Kelsey just said. We also have Roxanne Wilson, who is our Homeless Services Director, on the call with us today, and she might be able to talk a little bit more about what is being provided for residents who are pre-disaster homeless members of our community. Hi, Roxanne.
Hi, thank you so much. Apologize for being inside of my car. I'm actually sitting in front of the Pajaro Rescue Mission as we speak. We have engaged with the Pajaro Rescue Mission to really understand the damages that occurred on their property, and it is indeed really damaged. So we're connecting the Pajaro Rescue Mission with other nonprofit organizations to see how they can assist with manpower. They need pressure washers, they need new appliances, cots, and things of that sort. So we just hosted a meeting with a few nonprofits at the rescue mission, and we're very excited to see the community come together to support them in getting back online. And as such, because the rescue mission is in the process of trying to get through all of the damages, the county is also going to be hosting their remaining I think it's 13, sorry about the noise. I believe it's 13 Pajaro Rescue Mission clients that are at our congregate shelter will be going with us to the non-congregate shelter for a few weeks while we support them in getting their units back. Again, Kelsey hit it right on the nose. There's been several nonprofits that's been outreaching to the congregate shelter. We have emergency housing vouchers, which we talked about before. The Housing Authority of the County of Monterey has also been taking applications to all of their projects that they have open across the county and putting priorities on some of those units that are affiliated to, USDA, excuse me. We've been working with CHISPA, and CHISPA has quite a few openings as well. So CHISPA has provided us with a list, and we have a rapid rehousing provider who is also assisting folks with getting connected to those long-term housing programs. It is certainly a complicated situation. So we're grateful that we submitted the grant earlier this year to the state of California to build the tiny homes in partnership with the county of Santa Cruz and the city of Watsonville for the folks that were living along the river. We are hoping to hear back from the state within the next 3 weeks on whether or not we receive that funding. If so, construction will start almost immediately. So lots of work being done to support the unhoused population living in North County. And yes, just stay tuned for more.
Thank you, Roxanne. And Kelsey, I'm hoping that you will help me in reiterating the fact that services for pre-disaster residents, as well as people impacted by the floods regarding housing, has been ongoing at the shelter. The shelter has been more than a place to just sleep. There have been just so many services there for people because there are just so many needs.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, Roxanne, do you want to talk about the providers that have been at the shelter daily?
Yeah, so Community Action Board has been, they're one of Santa Cruz County's main outreach providers. They've been at the shelter almost daily since we started. We also have nonprofits that are not necessarily homeless services providers, but definitely have many connections who's been there as well, like Community Bridges, American Red Cross. We have FEMA has a program that may qualify folks who were living unsheltered prior to the disaster. So we have outreach teams, specifically community health engagement, who are getting folks signed up for that as well.
And then just to wrap up on resources for Pajaro, while the shelter is closing, other things are remaining, correct? That not everything is closing on the 15th. I know there's some changes to the resource tent, but other things that have been there, such as laundry, showers, etc.
We are actually looking to start identifying dates for demobilization of those resources, as well as the community has started to return and businesses are starting to open. We are not trying to compete with local businesses and very much encourage the local economy to prosper. So as local services begin to return, we'll be demobilizing some of those services as well.
And as they demobilize, we'll alert the community and all the residents involved. So people who, if they want that information, we'll be providing that, correct?
Affirmative.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you, Roxanne, both of you for joining me and talking about this change in sheltering and what is available to those residents. We also want to talk about what's happening at the Disaster Recovery Center, and we're very pleased to have our partners from FEMA and SBA here. Tiana Super from FEMA is here. We'd like to start with you. Tiana, tell us what's happening with FEMA and the Disaster Recovery Center.
Yes, good afternoon. We have a disaster recovery center closing on Friday in San Benito. The other ones are still remaining open at the moment. We had our DRC from Filton move to the Santa Cruz City Center or Santa Cruz Government Center on Ocean Street. And that will be open on Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, closed on the weekends. As stated before, I know that you wanted me to talk about determination letters. So yes, okay. So determination letters it's a letter that you get in the mail stating or email, however you want to get your letter, stating that FEMA needs more information from you. It's not a complete denial. There's always something that we need from you. There's always information that we need from you. Some of the common reasons for denial is insurance coverage. If you are still waiting on your insurance, FEMA cannot duplicate insurance benefits. So, and that's legally as well. So waiting on the insurance. The inspector was unable to get a hold of you and your household. Missing information, more than one person in the household applied for disaster assistance. Damage to the home may not be sufficient, or you don't have enough information, or you haven't been able to update FEMA. And some other times, the Marielli can tell you that you didn't finish your SBA application as well. And those are the different factors. Each case is different, but we ask that the determination letter that you read through the entire letter. It's a bunch of government garble, as we like to call it. So if you skip ahead and read the parts where we're telling you we need this information, that information, this needs to be updated, we're waiting on your insurance, things like that, then you can come back to us at the Disaster Recovery Center, or you can go online and upload those documents, or call FEMA and say, hey, I have this information now, and we can help you through that process. So again, it's not a finality with determination letters. It's just, hey, we need some more information. We're missing some information. We need to, we need to get these documents so we can continue your application process. I also wanted to mention too that some people further down south in Monterey County, we do have some mobile intake centers there. They're going to be there for the week. They will be leaving on Friday. I'll put that information in the chat. It's in Salinas and in Greenfield and San Ardo. I think I said that right. And I know a couple of people down there suggested that they didn't know that they weren't applying for this new disaster. And I will send information as well to the media and to you guys, letting you know how survivors can apply for 2 disasters. Some people think they're still under the other one that would happen earlier in the year. So we're advising people that when a new disaster comes, that you have to apply with that disaster. So you have 2 different registration numbers to apply for multiple disasters. And sometimes that happens when you have multiple disasters. So we want to get everybody registered in so that we can help you even after the deadline. So it's very important to at least get the registration number, get the process going, so that after the application deadline, you can still get help from FEMA. And I think that is it. If anybody has any questions, you can let me know, and I will post the mobile intake centers in Monterey in the chat so you guys can know the dates and times and addresses of where we're at to support that community down there. Thank you.
Tiana, I'm wondering if you can give me the latest numbers you have for applications for individual assistance. I have some numbers, but I think they're dated, and they've been pretty good application process.
Yeah, I can put that in the chat as well, because I know it's like a lot of numbers. So I usually just say over some things, but I can put that in the chat as well so you guys can have the exact number.
Thank you very much. And then Marielli from SBA, thank you very much for being here. And if you could give us an update on what has been done with the SBA and working with residents and businesses.
Of course. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I will say the information in English and then I will translate it in Spanish, okay? Thank you, Mike. Okay, so up today we have, okay, good news. Yes, let me start with that. We just have more than $10 million approved from SBA, so that is very good. And that is a total number. So that is not just for Monterey County, it's for all the whole declaration. And still that is very good and a very good number. So far we have received 34 applications just in Monterey. And we have approved more than $400,000 just for Monterey. And let me see what else I have here. Okay, very good as well. We have received more than 2,000 application refers from FEMA. That is very good. That is a very good number. But still we have we have a little struggle receiving the application. So I wanted to thank the county because I know you are very active with us, working to refer the survivors, I'm sorry, to the Pajaro Park DRC, but still we have a lot of work to do. So if you have the opportunity to share the information through the social media, that will be good. And also we have to always remark that SBA is just another alternative for the survivors to apply for disaster assistance. There's no obligation for business owners, renters, or homeowners to take the loan, but it's an alternative. And I wanted to say as well that as Tiana make reference to the denial letter, I wanted to say the same. So probably the survivors or the applicant receive a decline letter from SBA, and they have the opportunity to request reconsideration. Always. It's very easy to request it, and the only thing is they have to follow the instructions in the decline letter from SBA. Always, I wanted to say that there's no obligation to take the loan, but it's very important for the citizens to apply for disaster recovery assistance from the SBA. Also, we have FEMA is closing the DRC at Hollister, and probably we are going to receive those citizens in Pajaro Park and Monterey or in Watsonville, DRC. Okay, so that is very good. Okay, and the other thing, just to finish my information here, is that the declaration number for this disaster specifically is CA17842. And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm sorry, is because just a week ago, I think I received a call, and a survivor had a bit of struggle requesting disaster assistance from us because they were putting the other declaration number on their application. And as Tiana said, all declarations have their own declaration number. So it's very important to say that this declaration for the storms that began on February 21st is CA17842. Thank you. I will say the same in Spanish. Okay, por ahora hemos recibido 34 aplicaciones en el condado de Monterrey. Hemos aprobado más de $400,000 solamente en el condado de Monterrey. Hemos aprobado en total más de $10 millones en toda la declaración, lo cual es un número muy bueno y apropiado en cuanto al tiempo que llevamos trabajando la declaración. El Centro de Recuperación de Desastres en Hollister, en San Benito, está cerrando este próximo viernes. Así que probablemente vamos a estar recibiendo los ciudadanos que van a visitar el centro, puede ser en el centro de Pajaro Park o en el centro de Watsonville en Santa Cruz. Además, haciendo referencia a lo que mi compañera de FEMA, Tiana, informó, sí es probable que estén recibiendo las cartas de negación de parte de la SBA. Igual, todas las personas que reciban pueden solicitar reconsideración siguiendo las instrucciones que están dentro de la misma carta de decline, la misma carta de declinación, ¿cierto? Entonces es un proceso bastante sencillo. Ahora, sí es importante recalcar que el número de esta declaración es CA17842. Cada declaración tiene su propio número y cuando van a solicitar, le van a solicitar ese número para poder saber bajo qué número usted está solicitando la asistencia. La asistencia de la SBA no es obligatoria, pero sí es importante que la gente sepa que somos una alternativa. Así que cualquier duda o pregunta, estoy a la orden. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much, Maya. That's you.
Thank you very much for doing it 2 times. And if there are any questions for Tiana or Marielli or on any of our other topics, go ahead and put them, you can go ahead and put them in chat and we will get to them as soon as we can. Now I want to turn to another related topic. We have county staff that is working in parts of the county, particularly southern Monterey County, to make sure residents impacted by flooding are aware of lost wages benefits. And we've got Justin Lin from our Department of Emergency Management and Jennifer Rivas from the Health Department to talk about this outreach. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Maya, how is everyone doing? Well, so Monterey County Department of Emergency Management has been coordinating with VITA and our colleagues at FEMA and their DSA unit. And I think our colleagues already posted it in the chat, but there's different sites to help people register for individual assistance. So they can go up, the hours are all in the chat already, but it is City of Salinas, City of Greenfield, and San Ardo. And the VITA teams have also been trained on 2 more programs that are related. So they'll provide information on EDD's disaster survivor assist, They're going to provide information on their disaster program for people who face unemployment or other challenges related to work. And they're also going to provide information on the COVID-19 Monterey County Funeral and Burial Assistance Program. And I'll put this in the chat, but for the FEMA helpline, which is multiple languages, they can call 1-800-621-3362 for any questions about the California Department and Development, California Employment Development and Department for Disaster Unemployment Assistance. For English, they can call 1-800-300-5616, or in Spanish, 1-800-326-8973. And the last program, which is in English and Spanish, they can call 831-356-3137. All that information will be put in the chat, and I'll let Jennifer take it away in Spanish.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, buenas tardes. Lo que mencionó Justin, el Departamento de Administración de Emergencias del Condado de Monterrey y los equipos de vida del Condado de Monterrey, específicamente Mujeres en Acción y Centro Binacional para el Desarrollo Indígena Oaxaqueño. En conjunto estamos coordinando con FEMA para proporcionar asistencia a sobrevivientes de desastre enfocados en los trabajadores agrícolas. Los equipos de vida también fueron entrenados para proporcionar navegación de recursos en lugar para el desempleo por desastre, DUA por sus siglas en inglés, del Departamento de Desarrollo de Empleo, y para el programa de asistencia funeraria y entierro COVID-19 del Condado de Monterrey. Esto, como mencionó Justin y Tiana, hay 3 diferentes sitios donde están haciendo este alcance. Eso es en San Ardo, en la Iglesia Católica, en Greenfield, en la oficina del Centro Binacional para el Desarrollo Indígena Oaxaqueño, y en Salinas, en el edificio de Building Healthy Communities. Es muy importante que mencionemos que sí hay números que la comunidad puede a contactar para más información o registrarse para estos servicios. Para FEMA hay 2 diferentes líneas que pueden llamar, una es en inglés y una es en español, o es una línea, inglés y español. El número es 800-621-3362. Para el programa de asistencia de desempleo por desastre, hay 2 líneas que pueden llamar para obtener más información o solicitar asistencia. En inglés, la línea para inglés es 1-800-300-5616, y el de español es 1-800-326-8937. Y ese otra vez es para el programa de asistencia de desempleo por desastre. Y como mencionó Justin, también están dando información sobre el programa de asistencia funeraria y entierro de COVID-19. Las solicitudes se inician a través de la línea directa de asistencia funeraria y de entierro. Ese número es 831-356-3137. El horario es 8 a.m. a 11 a.m. del lunes a miércoles. Si llaman después, pueden dejar un mensaje con su información de contacto fuera del horario y le van a devolver la llamada.
We know this is a lot of information, so for the different sites in Greenfield, Salinas, and San Ardo, VITA teams are out there helping people with registration, and the FEMA mobile MRICs, the mobile registration intake centers, also have Spanish speakers on site. And if you've forgotten all those numbers, you can call our partners at 211, and they'll be able to find and direct you to these phone numbers.
Cada de este sitio va a haber un miembro que habla español y también sé que sabemos que es mucha información, so también en estos sitios van a poder preguntar, si tienen preguntas, preguntar y que los ayuden a navegar estos recursos y también pueden llamar el número 211 para más información sobre estos recursos. Gracias.
That's it from us, Maya. Are there any questions?
It's not all stacked
Okay,
in one or
so
two
any
parts.
questions for Justin today? All right, thank you, Justin, and thank you, Jennifer, for that information. It looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties in the room where May is at, so just bear with us just a quick second, and we'll be right back to you. Okay, I'm going to take over for Maya, and so we just heard from Justin about the lost wages outreach, and then we have our ag commissioner on the line with us today. I believe there's Juan, and Juan, thank you for being with us today. And why don't you give the folks on the press some information about the Ag Pass program, please?
Yes, thank you, Nick. Good afternoon, everyone. Juan Hidalgo, I'm the County of Monterey Agricultural Commissioner. You may have heard that recently our County Board of Supervisors approved the implementation of the Agricultural Pass here in Monterey County. This approval of a pass stems from Assembly Bill 1103, which was signed into law back in 2021, and with the intent to provide some relief, primarily to livestock operations during some of the terrible wildfires that we have been experiencing in our state in the last few years. If you remember, these fires create some significant impact to agricultural operations in their ability to continue to, protect their commodities, including cattle, vineyards, and other crops. And so the intent of the pass is to allow counties to implement agricultural passes that would provide during emergencies an ability to those operators to be able to take some emergency measures to protect their livestock, for instance, whether that be moving them from one location to another location during a wildfire, feeding them, making sure that they have veterinary care. In the event of commodities, it could mean the ability to water crops so that those growers do not lose those commodities during serious disaster incidents. The idea of the pass was behind wildfires, but there are other disasters that come into play as well. And certainly flooding is one of those things that's fresh in our minds after what we saw this winter, but earthquakes would be another disaster that could be an opportunity for agricultural producers to be able to get an ag pass so that they can have access to their properties and be able to take some emergency actions to protect their commodities and their goods. The ag pass here in Monterey County is going to be implemented by the Agricultural Commissioner's Office. We're actually in the process of accepting applications from commercial agricultural operators. There's also a requirement that to be able to get an agricultural pass, those operators have to take CAL FIRE training, which is a 4-hour training, and that's scheduled to take place early next month. So we're still trying to determine the exact times for that training. And our Ag Pass again is for emergencies only. It doesn't mean that law enforcement or the Emergency Operations Center will necessarily allow access into some areas. There's going to be some assessment of what the risk is in those locations, depending on the disaster emergency. And depending on that risk, it's going to be up to law enforcement to make a determination whether or not to allow these individuals to have access to the property. One of the things that the Ag Pass also provides is an opportunity for those property operators to communicate with law enforcement, CAL FIRE, and provide some additional information about the location, whether it be access to roads to be able to access people that may need to be evacuated, for instance, or maybe if there's a fire, maybe locations where CAL FIRE may be able to access watering holes to be able to control and suppress fires. The Ag Pass is limited to 3 individuals per operation, and it does not include harvesting activities. Again, this is an emergency situation where operators are trying to get access to their properties, if permitted, to be able to make sure that they can take care of their livestock, be able to evacuate them if possible, and maybe water some of their commodities so that they don't lose those commodities in case of a serious wildfire or other event. And like I said, there's more information on the Agricultural Commissioner's website. And that's basically a really quick rundown of the Ag Pass, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Juan. And of course, the Ag Pass is an important economic protection for one of our leading economic drivers in the county of Monterey, agriculture. How's the response been from the ag community so far? Have you had a lot of inquiries and are working with a number of growers and ranchers at this point?
Yes, definitely. Since we opened up applications, we have had a number of operations asking us about more details about the requirements of the pass application process and other elements. So we're looking forward to working with our growers in the county and hopefully be able to get interest from them to be able to go through the process and get an Ag Pass.
Excellent. All right. And do we have any questions for Juan before we move on to the next topic? Well, as always, Juan, we thank you for being with us, and we appreciate the work the Ag Commissioner's Office does. And knowing that you're still relatively new to the county, we're glad you're here. And thanks for all your support to support the bounty of Monterey County.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
All right. So now we're going to move on to Krista Hanni. Krista Hanni is with the County of Monterey's Health Department, and Krista is going to share some information with us with regard to the Community Resource Center and the activities that have been taking place there. Krista, welcome.
Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all again. This is just a quick update on the Community Resource Tent that we've been able to put up at the Pajaro Middle School, and it's been really well received and well attended by the community. Since we opened up, we've had over 410 users. Some people may have come back a couple times, so that's not necessarily unduplicated, but many people expressing appreciation for having it there. They're hearing about it sometimes when they're walking by. They're hearing about it from the community organizations which are providing services in the tent. And some of them are hearing about it from all of your wonderful media publications as well and social media. So we greatly appreciate that. We've transitioned this week to being more workshops versus just tabling by the organizations. And we have 8 workshops scheduled this week. And the organizations that are there, there's a Conflict Resolution Center, Santa Cruz Ventures, Positive Discipline, Community Action Board, And then a larger one with several organizations on Saturday, just on a legal training. But that's led by the Monterey College of Law. Overall, the workshops this week have focused on financial literacy, the legal aspects, some economic supports as it relates to CalFresh applications, and other supports as it relates to people's FEMA applications, as we heard earlier from FEMA, just giving communities that support with disaster applications and follow-up, and then parenting, and some really wonderful positive discipline community supports has done parenting workshops and for young parents and or expectant mothers at this time of need, and also for helping them with stress. It's just been really important to have that space to talk about parenting through a disaster. So that's this week at the Community Resource Center tent, and we're probably going to it may end this week. We'll make some decisions today. I work with the community-based organizations, and we make this decision together. It's based on the need and the use for the workshops. So we will keep you posted as to what next week holds for the tent.
Great. Thank you very much, Krista. And of course, last week we did have a Pajaro community meeting, and just curious to know, did you see an uptick in folks coming to inquire about services at the Community Resource Center after that community meeting?
Yes, we did see an uptick, and I should have said those numbers did not include the numbers from the community listening session. That the tent was very full, and so you could add those numbers. I know it was over a couple hundred people that were there at the community listening session. So yeah, we had an uptick, and people again appreciating now that they knew more about what was being offered there as well.
Great. And of course, obviously the role of community-based organizations in any disaster, whether it's here in Monterey County or California or anywhere in the nation, the role of community-based organizations is critical because, not to steal a line from our former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, it takes a village. But in fact, when it comes to disaster recovery, it does take a village, and it takes a lot of organizations to help families recover. Isn't that accurate, Krista?
It really is. And the majority of people coming to the tent, like the vast majority, are people from Pajaro. They're walking to the tent. And so it has been really beneficial to place it there, and for the community-based organizations to have that place, given that so many of the businesses and the organizations, the few that are there in Pajaro, their facilities have been impacted, and it's very hard for them to hold any workshops or meet with community members at their facilities. So yes. Takes a village, and having a tent there is part of the tent, is part of the village. Part
of the village, exactly. And of course, even given the fact that obviously at some point in time, the Community Resource Center will demobilize as other disaster response things will demobilize. These organizations are active and in the community all the time. Krista, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the organizations, we meet with them twice a week to go over information as it comes out. They are all and have been very active in Pajaro from several of them for decades, if not longer. Some of them have their facilities in Watsonville. A few of them do have some facilities or partner with one of the organizations that has a facility in Pajaro to hold their classes or their workshops or their case management meetings. And so they definitely know the community. They have extensive contacts throughout the community with their social media lists. And that's a great way for us to be getting information out. We have found, and from talking to people when I've been down there at the resource hub itself overall, people get information in different ways. And so we are recognizing that the community-based organizations are part of getting the information out, and they are part of our email chains of all the information materials and the media assets that are produced. And so just for those on the call to know that they are seeing the information that is being put out by the media, and then also broadcasting that into the Pajaro community through their channels.
Exactly. And while the tent may close at some point in time, those organizations will not, and they'll be there for the community in partnership with the community. Yes. Excellent. All right. Well, Krista, thank you once again for being available for the briefing today. We really appreciate that. I want to thank all our guests today. We apologize for the technical difficulties. For those of you in the media, you'll be happy to know that part of the challenge today was we actually got moved out of the room that we normally do our briefing in because it's being updated with technology. So we can do live briefings as well as virtual briefings and press conferences. So that should be done by September. In the meantime, I want to thank all our guests today for being on our news briefing. And we look forward to seeing you back here next Wednesday, same time, and of course, same link. But of course, Maya will also send a reminder on that. Have a great day, everyone. We appreciate all your efforts in keeping our community informed. Take care now.